to the Brubacher Beyond podcast, where we are shaping the world we live in so more people can find the construction industry uncommonly refreshing. Happy Monday. We have 3 internal guests with us that were traveling. I overheard some of their travel experiences, and maybe that's one thing about the CONEXPO is the travel, maybe a little turbulent, a little time sensitive. I don't know, whatever we want to call that.
It was a little bumpy.
Little bumpy? On the way in or way out?
All things considering, it was a little bumpy.
Okay. Well, let's do this first before everybody hears us. Let's go around the room and introduce yourselves. Again, my name is Sztenderowicz, Director of Business Development for Brubacher. I'm going to start counterclockwise in the room. I'll let Andy go first.
Yes, thanks for having me, Chris. Andy Horning, Equipment Manager here at Brubacher.
And I'm Keith Brubacher, President of Brubacher Excavating.
Steve Luckenbill, Utilities General Manager.
Let's start with Steve. This was your first time at CONEXPO?
First time.
And overall, what did you think about it?
The show was phenomenal. It was bigger than I expected and met all expectations that I had going into it. Probably exceeded expectations.
All right. Andy, your second time?
Right, yeah, this was my second time going out. I was really excited to go out and just have a little bit of an idea from 3 years ago when I was out. I had no idea I was in your shoes, Steve, and just knew it was big but had no idea. So this year just going out, being able to see what's new and try to come up with a game plan ahead of time so that I wasn't just shooting from the hip.
And Keith, how many times have you been?
I didn't go back and count. I think 1993 or 96 was the first time I was there, and I believe I've been to all of them since, including the very memorable one 6 years ago when the world shut down upon our return, not because of our return, with the COVID virus. So certainly less tenuous this time, although there was a war broke out in Iran there. There was no shortage of drama around the world related with the CONEXPO events his last couple of years, it seems.
Yeah. So, Steve, what did you think about, or let me ask you this question, since I'm sure you were prepped on going to CONEXPO about what to wear, make sure you have sneaks. What were some of the other suggestions before going for a newbie like you?
So Andy helped me out with that, gave me some rough ideas of what to expect, what to look for, and so did Keith. With setting an agenda, would highly recommend downloading the CONEXPO app if you're new to going, and utilize the agenda in there to create your own show and set a plan. You're not going to be able to hit everything on your plan, but if you have some type of an idea of what you want to get done in the day, it will definitely benefit the outcome of your visit. So go with a plan.
So your app you're talking about, what is on the app?
All floor plans of the whole show, from festival lots to halls inside. You can see where every vendor is at, what booth ID number they have. You can see different exhibitors for training sessions set up in there. Any tooling that you want to search or do more research on, you type it in there, and it'll tell you exact booth, which lot or which hall that it's in. So.
And then you can plan your day from the beginning to the end and put in the booth that you want to travel, and it helps you travel through all those. That's pretty cool.
Yeah.
And then all the seminars. So the main thing is 3 million square foot of show floor, showcasing all kinds of equipment, tools, attachments, software, anything related to the construction business, primarily from the ground down, aggregates and related industries. And then there's a whole educational series. You could spend the whole time there in seminars as well, but the challenge is to try and mix that together, and all the slide deck for every single seminar is there, contact for every speaker, etc., is all very useful.
All useful in the app. So Andy, one of the things is this is a different perspective with Steve being in utilities, you being in fleet, Keith being the president. It's different levels. So how did you pick out your schedule, and what was the things that were on top of your list to see?
Yeah, so I had went in knowing that I wanted to sit in some seminars, trying to get in those seminars. My plan was 3 years ago to try to see everything. That was a terrible idea, because you could walk the show and see everything and come away with basically nothing, because you're just trying to catch everything. You need to take the time to look at what you want to see before you go, come up with that plan to say, okay, here's the 5 or the 10 things I want to see, and then build something around that, because my experience was that if you don't do that, you're just going to be looking at a lot of stuff and not come away with a whole lot. So I wanted to go in and look at some technology, look at some of the new equipment. So with Steve, he has his desires and wants for his utility crew. The dirt side of our work has their ideas of what they would like, and I'm the guy that has to kind of figure out how we're going to manage what we're purchasing. And it was great to have Steve along just to get some of his perspective and to see what some of his guys would like using in the field.
And Steve, what was on your list, if you don't mind sharing it?
So I wanted to see how AI could help us be more productive and efficient in the future. I wanted to also check out some safety items with ground penetrating radar, with unmarked utility hits, how to prevent them, less downtime for our crews, safer for our crews with gas and electric lines. And basically wanted to see if within the seminars what other companies are doing as far as retaining their employees. And I got some really good takeaways from some of them seminars. So those were the top 3 on my list.
So you went with a purpose, you attacked it. Was there any free time? What was the biggest thing that you came away with from the convention that you didn't think was going to be on your radar?
So, I mean, going out there, it's a sandbox in a city that has every piece of equipment from 25 different manufacturers across the world, right? So you get there, you're all giddy, like, oh, you know, new equipment, new this, new that. Oh, I want to check this out. I want to go there. I want to do this. And we're running around. I think we did 27.5 miles in 3 days.
Wow.
So, like, we were constantly moving. But my biggest takeaway and the thing I'm most proud of is the relationship that I got to build with Andy. I knew him working here. We interact, we talk, we work together. But I really think our relationship that we build out there will help us be more productive and benefit the company moving forward. So that was my main takeaway, Chris.
That's great. So I'll then throw that question to you, Andy.
I guess I have to say that my main takeaway is building the relationship with you, Steve.
You don't have to say that.
Okay.
You should know from now that we built that relationship, I can take criticism, and I'm a pretty strong-skinned feller.
One of the things that Brubacher has, I don't know, I would say taught me, but there's a purpose, and then there's another purpose as well. So there's a reason that we go to these conferences, but one of the things that we try to do as well is to build the relationship of the people that we're going to these events with. So spending time with Steve was, for me, trying to get to understand his world of what he does a little bit more and how I can support him and his crew. So yeah, I appreciated the time that we got to just talk about work and things outside of work. And then for me, just the technology that we have today seems hard for me to fathom. And what is up to date today could be changing tomorrow. And I look at one of the exciting things, and I know, Keith, you've been talking about this for quite some time. Caterpillar is coming out with AI assistant, so you can ask, similar to you would ask Siri, you can ask a question, you can get feedback for a technician working on a piece of equipment. And in the very near future, I believe they're going to have it for operators as well, where you can ask inside the cab of the machine how to do something, and you'll get feedback from the machine. That, for me, is extremely exciting.
So right now, Andy, what you're talking about for technician-wise, if there's a trouble code in a piece of equipment, you can say to AI, I have this trouble code, help me diagnose it. But you're saying that you'll be able to, an example, driving a bulldozer and you need to do some technique with it, it'll walk that operator through. That's amazing. Right. So like you have an assistant with you to help you.
Right, so if you don't know what one of the options are on that dozer, you can ask and it can tell you what that function is or what it does.
Interesting. So Keith, one of the things that I was thinking about on my drive in today, how do you prioritize the commitment into ongoing training, ongoing sending team members to CONEXPO or a conference? It takes away from the everyday work, right? And we're like, how are we going to get this done? But it's so important to do that. How do you balance that?
You know, first you got to create the opportunity and the vision, but it also sounds, listen to these guys, like, and you also got to get out of the way. It sounded like they had a great time getting to know each other. Well, I left them to their own devices while I was off at a different seminar or different area. So there is a part to that. It really does come down to creating the vision and the space and supporting the recognition that work isn't only what happens, or productivity isn't only what happens at the side of the ditch, beside the technician, on the shop floor, reviewing the bid, etc. All very important things that we've got to recognize the value of all the other supporting tasks, knowledge, building. Otherwise, it's like, why bother sharpening the saw? Just keep sawing away with a dull saw. That doesn't make any sense. But why do we, in the business world, sometimes think that, well, if I just work a little harder, if I pull that saw through that cut a little faster, it'll all work out, when we need to step back, sharpen that saw. So I know it's an overused and well-worn expression, but still very much describes the importance of staying out ahead, being alert, and evaluating things that can help us. It's not about just how do I work people harder. That's not very sustainable. It doesn't create an environment in which people want to work. Everyone wants to contribute their best in a way that is using the available technologies, tools, techniques, etc. And that's very important to us. So it's setting that vision, creating the space, and then looking at how can I share what we've learned. So these guys have responsibilities to share with their team members maybe a new understanding, something they've learned, maybe a constraint that we thought was a reason we couldn't do something or achieve a certain outcome, and we've now found a way that that's possible. We've found safety improving ideas, we've found production enhancing ideas, we've found things that will make operator and laborers' lives less straining and stressful. So those are all things I'm pretty excited about.
So Steve, walk us through, how do you take something that you've learned at the CONEXPO and then bring it back to the facility and then bring it through your department? What does that look like?
So a great example, one of the seminars I sat in was from the 2-8 company. Presenter was Jake Schmitlin. I hope I didn't butcher his last name too bad. Sorry, Jake, if I did, if you're a listener. Nobody wants to suck. How to build your employees' blueprint for success. Basically, what they compared that to is a maintenance program on your backhoe or any piece of equipment, right? We have scheduled maintenance, set at this interval, this many hours. How you integrate that into your employees is with one-on-one coaching. We do have one-on-one coaching for my direct reports and theirs, but not for our hourly employees. So what I task myself with is how to implement one-on-one coaching for our hourly employees, whether it's monthly or bi-monthly. I'm still working on how I want to integrate that in here, but it's something that's going to be coming to the utilities department this year. So.
Okay. And Andy, what did you take away for your department?
So I agree with Steve. I sat in on that seminar as well, which I do the same thing for my team, but maybe not necessarily down through all the way. So I want to work through that. The CAT AI assistant is something I'm excited to talk to my team about, how that can make them better and us better. Just some of the new options that are coming on equipment as well that we're going to have to get our techs trained up on, and being able to work on that equipment, making sure that they're up to date on it.
And everybody's worried about AI taking jobs. Do you see it as taking jobs, or what is your perspective on the AI assisting employees in the construction industry?
The number one asset that Brubacher has is our people. So I don't ever see us moving away from people being here at Brubacher. Is there something that at some point down the road can work for an hour or two doing something, a piece of equipment? Maybe. But people are who we are, and we can't do it without operators in the field. So I don't see us ever getting away from people.
Yeah, and I think that's one of the biggest things that I come across with talking to people is they think their jobs are going to be replaced, but I don't think that. I use the analogy, it's like Google, right? Before Google was here, how did you search something? You used the yellow pages or you used some kind of book. Google was just a tool to help us move faster and quicker. AI is going to be the same way. It's going to help us be more efficient, move faster, but I don't see it replacing the person itself.
I think construction is uniquely positioned, particularly for the trades. I believe that the introduction of AI into various roles and aspects will certainly change many of those roles and enhance them. Right now we have so much technology, it's hard to even figure out what does this machine have, how do I utilize it, how do I access that, and we tend to just use stuff in its current capacity. And you may have someone who's really zealous, they're looking at YouTube videos, they're figuring it out. But if we can bring that knowledge to them, I think it's a way that it's going to be very helpful to people in utilizing technology that's already there, getting more out of that resource, and making certain aspects of their job that are really tedious less tedious, less tiring, etc. However, I think there's another layer to this where there are currently jobs that are being displaced because AI is simply able to do what other people did in other roles throughout society. I believe there's a real opportunity for us to welcome people into the construction industry, to equip them with tools, and as an industry, we've got to be very good at and become even better than we are at training people, even if they didn't grow up on grandpa's farm, even if they didn't have a shovel in their hand at age 5, etc. I think we have a real opportunity to introduce and welcome people into an industry that is very tactile, hands-on. You see direct results for the work that you do, work with great technology, build generational investments that benefit our communities. And I see a real opportunity for us to solve many of the challenges that we see in a labor pool that is changing. So I see vast opportunity on multiple fronts. Is there disruption? Yes. Painful for some. We're foolish to ignore that. But I see many opportunities that will benefit construction and those of us in the industry.
I think it'll level the playing field for that new operator that's maybe he's a little nervous to switch machines because he's never ran that machine. He has the rough idea of how to do it, but I think it's going to build confidence within the employees that lack a little bit of confidence to, take that next step into that next piece of equipment, having that personal trainer right inside the cab with you. It's not Steve Luckenbill or Andy Horning who's going to be sitting there explaining to them. That might threaten some people.
Yeah.
If it's a CAD AI assistant or Komatsu assistant, whatever it may be, in the future, it's going to give them that much more confidence to get in that machine and say, hey, Kat, how do I do this?
So Keith, you've gone to the CONEXPO several times. Can you give us like a background of it, or from your perspective, when you first went, how was it in the earlier days, and then how has it transformed to now?
Yeah, so way back, long before even I came along, it was a traveling road show that started in the 1920s. So it's been going on for around 100 years, and it happens on a every 3-year cycle is where it runs. And since the mid-1980s has been held in Las Vegas, the only place that has enough indoor and outdoor space to host a show that is so significant, where you can bring in some of the world's largest cranes, excavators, etc. So it's been every 3 years in Las Vegas at the convention center and surrounding areas. A couple of things that I've noticed is that over the years it's shifted from metal and mechanical things, which are still important and still the core, certainly toward technology, and now partial automation, things that help assist. We're just talking about AI. That's certainly a shift. And the scope of it, it's certainly grown by, I believe, about 100% in space and participants over those last 30-some years. Another kind of cultural thing that I've observed, early on there would be a lot more use of attractive women to welcome people into a booth or a display area to get the crowd traveling by to stop. And I've been encouraged to see that shift to where the industry is now, while still largely dominated by men, we're seeing a lot broader diversity of people coming to the show, and also a respect for both genders, and not using one as a lure when it should really be the machinery, the technology, or the display. And so I think that's a point of progress for our industry as we welcome many people into the construction industry, and has been a shift that's been very noticeable over the last couple decades.
Yeah, so we can build upon that. Steve, what did you think of the industry? I mean, it's your first time at the expo. What were your final thoughts about it?
Final thoughts, takeaways. I mean, there was so much there to see. The culture that everybody shows and has, we're all there for the same reason, right? We all want to improve, better ourselves. And no matter if you ran into somebody from another state that did the exact same thing as what we did, a utility worker ran into a bunch of guys that did it in different states across the United States. It was so easy to have a conversation with everybody. Everybody's open to share. I was talking with Antraquip about a rock wheel, and another gentleman came up and he's like, oh yeah, he's like, we have 2 of these. He's like, they're great. So it wasn't just like talking to a salesman. I was talking to the guy that's in my shoes for another company, and it's just the collaboration that was there, that everybody was willing to talk and just get together. It was a phenomenal event.
Andy, what did you take away from your first time as a newbie to your second time?
I think I was a little more prepared this year to go back out, had a game plan. One of the things I read was they call this the Super Bowl of the construction industry, and it really is. There is so much equipment. It's great to see what is available currently and what some of these companies are trying to do, looking to do in the future. I think it seems like it's unlimited as to what they can do right now. One of the things that was really cool was we watched the CAT demo the one day, and they had 2 autonomous pieces of equipment, a roller and a dozer, and they ran it without anybody in it. They stopped, and then an operator went in and ran that same machine for a little bit of time. And I didn't know that that was even possible. I thought if it was an autonomous vehicle, that's what it was. So just the improvements that they're making and the technology, it's just really exciting to see what's happening in the industry. And it's also exciting, I agree with you, Keith, with the amount of women that are in the industry, and it seems like there's a growing excitement and a desire for women to be in the industry. There's a lot of people there working the show that are very knowledgeable on their said products, which is exciting to see as well.
Yeah, just a huge amount of passion. I think Steve touched on that, just people that are very, very passionate about this industry, about its work, its impact, people, the processes, and to have that many people all at one place. There may have been a few who were attending the show that got tickets that maybe didn't get there a whole lot or until late afternoon, depending on their activities the night before. None in current company certainly fit that bill. We were all up bright and early, but it was in Las Vegas, and that impact is not lost on some of the attendees.
Yeah, so one of the things we're going to do different here on the podcast, we're going to try some rapid fire questions. So we'll go with Steve, Keith, and then Andy. So first question, what was the most impressive machine that you saw at CONEXPO?
I have 2 of them.
Okay,
Can I
go
share
ahead.
both? PC 158 from Komatsu, their new excavator that's replacing our current PC 138s. It's 1,000 pounds heavier, I think 10 more horsepower, but the coolest feature on it was the 360 camera system that it has on it with human detection. The machines has electric over hydraulic controls, and the sensor, say you're swinging, you're digging in the street, and a pedestrian walks out into the street and into your swing zone, the machine will actually stop itself before it strikes that employee or that pedestrian.
That person.
Yeah, that person, whether it's an employee or a pedestrian.
So that person doesn't have to be wearing any sensors or any.
Nothing.
It picks it up.
Detects it. Anywhere that bucket, the swing radius, that bucket can reach, those cameras can detect.
Wow, that is impressive.
And my second one was the McElroy Fusion machine. It's a 412i series. So for those of you who don't know what a fusion machine is, it'll weld together 2 pieces of HDPE pipe, which is plastic polyethylene high density. So you type in to this 412 machine the pipe size and the parameters of the pipe, wall thickness, all that, and it'll automatically compute and fuse together, weld those 2 pieces of pipe, where the 2 machines that we have and years before have all been manual. So
I just want to point something out, in the construction industry. Steve, did you think you'd be 20 years ago excited about a fusion plastic machine?
no, never.
I mean, the construction industry has so many opportunities. Like if you're in the utilities division, if you're in the land clearing division, if you're in the paving division, it's a world of opportunities that you can be involved in. And there's a niche too. There are little niches that you can be involved in, and it's just exciting to see that. I mean, I wish you could see Steve describing these pieces of equipment. It's just it gets me excited. Keith, what was yours?
The 158 with the radar detection for object versus person, that clearly stands out. It's productivity enhancing, life saving, all of the above, kind of checks all the boxes.
Okay. Andy?
I hate to say the same thing, but the PC 158 was really exciting for the same reasons. And then I like big trucks. Komatsu's 71-ton rock truck was pretty impressive. Tires are bigger than me, so I just like big trucks.
Okay. Next question. And we already talked about this, so I'm going to skip it. Best new technology, Steve?
AI.
Keith?
AI specifically that can interact and provide meaning to the operator. I've been telling these manufacturers for years, don't just tell Big Brother back at the dealer or the manufacturer or the office, this operator is or isn't doing X, Y, or Z. Give the operator the information so they can first make the change, or this is even better yet, the operator can ask and say, what's the best way to approach, what technology tool is here. So that to me is really exciting.
Andy?
AI assistant again, yep.
Okay. Most crowded booth?
I'd say it was probably CAT.
Okay.
Yep, I agree.
Agreed.
How long did you stay there? Was it You couldn't move. What was the atmosphere like?
I think I ended up going there all 3 days, to be honest with you.
Okay.
You got a free hat every day or what?
No, just checking out different stuff at different times and different events going on there. So I think I was definitely there Tuesday, Wednesday, and Thursday at least once.
What was the best networking event?
I would say the seminar that I sat in.
Okay. Keith?
The people I met by chance, really, without an intended, let's meet here with this person this time. Wednesday, I think I met half a dozen people at random places and times that I had some connection with, whether it was a close connection or never met them, but they were at our open house 35 years ago and remembered something about Brubacher before they moved to another state. So that was just being at the show, and particularly around some of the main manufacturer booths, was a great place of connection.
Andy?
The John Deere event we went to the one evening, got to talk to some of our fellow people in the area here, some of our competitors, I guess, that just briefly talk with them a little bit about what they're doing and their workload, and also some John Deere people giving some different perspectives on some different topics.
It must have been before the band started, because I couldn't hear much after that.
Yeah, once Shabuzi started, we couldn't really talk, or there wasn't a whole lot of hearing other than him.
Well, I would say if it was Taylor Swift, though, was there, Andy, you would be all singing along?
We would have stayed all night for that.
I would have stayed and accompanied him as well.
See, that's building strong relationships. Steve, what's one thing that if you missed the show, a contractor should look forward to maybe attending the next time?
EV equipment, that's coming. It's only a matter of time. Electric powered equipment.
And what kind, like just
John
everything?
Deere's currently working on a 310 backhoe that's fully electric. It's not into production yet. They have multiple mid-size excavators out there now, a Series 5 farm tractor.
So are they like plug in and it's a cord that follows it around? Like
No, so it would be a charging station, sort of like you see at Tesla stations or any electric vehicle charging station.
And so when their shift will be done, you change out the batteries,
So
or
you would
plug it in?
have, right now, their option to charge the equipment that's off-site, so no charging station available,
Okay.
is towed behind, basically battery bank that you can get 2 full charges out of.
Interesting.
And then you would take the trailer back to your shop or your yard and charge it,
And
and
then
then
charge
bring
it
it back out in another 2 days.
Interesting. Keith?
Yeah, I think the biggest thing people would miss that haven't gone is the opportunity to be a continual learner about what's next. Like, it's such a fast-moving train. I feel like even though I attend, it's still hard to keep up with everything, and it's a risk to a contractor to gradually become obsolete. And I'm not saying CONEXPO solves that, but it's certainly a dose in the right direction to keep from gradually becoming out of date, obsolete, and unable to compete.
Yeah, it's that mindset. Keep on getting better. Keep on learning. Keep on sharpening your saw. Andy?
It's just an opportunity to see so many different brands of equipment, different sizes of equipment, all in one place. Be able to talk to reps, not only from maybe your dealership, but also from the manufacturer. It's a great opportunity to sit down in seminars and learn from that, and then meet people in the industry that can, as Steve said, he was talking to some other people in the industry and sharing things that work and things that don't work. It's just having it all in one place, or over the course of 2.5 miles of one place, that you can go and get all of that in a week's time.
So the final question, Steve, will you go again?
If I have the opportunity, yes, I would definitely love to go again.
Nice. Keith?
I plan to go again, and I look forward to taking my team members with us that are able to help evaluate, learn, translate this stuff back into practice in the company.
Andy?
Yes, if I'm invited, yeah, I will go again. It's kind of in my wheelhouse with equipment, so unless somebody tells me differently, I think I'll probably go again.
Last I checked, I think you have a hand in the fleet budget, which includes seminars, so I don't...
Yeah, you're right, I do.
I think he's the one guy that can budget for it from day one.
Put that in the budget.
So Steve, you have to work with Andy on the budget there.
Yeah, that's what it sounds like.
Ongoing learning and education.
That's great. Everybody, thank you for listening to the Brubacher and Beyond podcast. If you like it, please let us know you like it. If you don't like it, email me, text me, call me. Tell me what we can do better. We're always trying to improve. We're always trying to get better. We're always trying to help the industry as a whole, too. Some people are like, why do you do a podcast? And my thing is, if one person in the industry can take something that we're talking about and use it, it helps the whole industry. That's why it's Brubacher and Beyond. So thank you for your time today.
Thank you, Chris.
Thanks.
Thank you for listening to the Brubacher podcast today. If you enjoyed it, please subscribe to our podcast so you can listen to new episodes every month. Share it with your friends in the industry and those who might like to learn more about the construction industry. Feel free to check us out on our website at www.brubacher.net. We hope you found the discussion insightful, and we look forward to the next time.